Hello, my name is Keith Smith. Welcome to this video on the Chapter 24 student activity, Creating Solids Using Solidworks. When you create your solid, follow the step-by-step printed instructions that have been provided to you. The purpose of this video is to help you visualize how those step-by-step instructions are carried out. Alright, let's get started. In step 1, we're going to create a new part in Solidworks. We will sketch a base, resize it, and then locate it correctly to our origin. So we'll start by opening up a new part. So under the File menu, select New. Make sure Part is highlighted and say OK. And we'll begin by sketching that base. So we will select the Sketch menu. We'll select Sketch, and then we'll select the front plane. It's important that we select the front plane as opposed to the top or the right planes. This will make it easier to import this model into Mastercam when we do the student activity in the next chapter. So let's select front plane, and we will start by creating a rectangle. So under the rectangle menu, we have several options. We want the corner rectangle option. Then we will click somewhere on our screen and drag a box around the origin point. So right now all the lines are blue. This is totally undefined, and we will start by resizing this box. To do that, we will select the Smart Dimension option, select one of the horizontal lines, and we'll pull up that dimension there, and you can see that the dimension now is about 3 inches 290 thousandths. We will change that to 3 inches 850 thousandths to match the part in our drawing. Then we will select one of these vertical lines, pull that dimension over, and we'll resize this to 5 inches 250 thousandths. Alright, so now we have a rectangle that's the correct size, but it isn't located to the origin point as we'd like it. We're going to center the rectangle in X, and then we will make the point of origin about 1.5 inches from the bottom line of the part. So start by selecting one of the vertical lines and the point of origin. And right now it's about 1 inch 800 thousandths. We're going to change that to half of the 3 inches 850 dimension. We can do that by simply entering in 3 inches 850 thousandths divided by 2, and then enter. And then notice now that the rectangle has been shifted so that it is now in the midpoint. And we're going to make this rectangle 1 inch 500 thousandths from the bottom line of the part. So we'll select the bottom line, the point of origin. So now it's 3.5 inches, but we'll make that 1.5 inches, and we'll select OK. So now notice that all the lines of the rectangle have turned black because it's fully defined. The size and location now are defined, and so we can exit the sketch mode by selecting Exit Sketch. Now that our rectangle is created, we're going to move on to step 2, in which we'll extrude this sketch. So start by selecting the Extrude Boss Base option, and then we're being prompted to select a sketch or a plane. So we're going to select that sketch that we've already created, and the default will come up as extruding this 100 thousandths. We're going to change that to 875 thousandths because that's the thickness of our part. Later we will cut away the material that we don't need for this part. So enter in 0.875 thousandths into this box here and hit enter, and notice that our block now has been extended to 875 thousandths. Select the green check box to OK this, and now our part is been extruded. Okay, now we're ready for step 3, sketching the corner cuts. One thing I'd like to mention is I have been rotating this part by holding down my center scroll wheel on my mouse and then moving my mouse, and this will dynamically rotate my part around to give me different looks at it. If I become confused as to which is the front view of my part, I can hit the normal icon here, or I could select the front view icon. Either one will bring me back to my original front view. Now we will create the sketch to cut the corners. Start by opening up the sketch menu, select line, and we're being prompted to select a plane or face on which we're going to create our sketch, and we're going to create our sketch on this front plane here. So I'm going to just click on it, and then I'm going to start creating the lines in the corners of this existing model. So then I will complete the rectangle by going back to the first corner, and I'm going to select OK. Now I'm going to fillet the corners. There are two different size fillets. One is 1/2 inch and the other is 1.5 inches. Select the sketch radius icon and select one of the lines, and then this top line. And right now the parameter of the radius is set at 100 thousandths. We want to change that to 1/2 inch or 500 thousandths. We'll change the fillet parameter to 0.500 thousandths and hit enter, and then notice now our radius is now the correct size. And we want to continue with this. We want another radius that blends the top line to the right side, and we'll hit OK at this point because we're going to create a different size radius next. So now we'll change the fillet parameter to 1.500 thousandths, and we'll select this right line and the bottom line, and then we'll select the bottom line again and the left line, and then our radiuses are complete. So we will select OK, and now this sketch is completed. So we will exit the sketch menu. In step 4, we're going to create an extruded cut. We're going to use our sketch to cut away the corners of our. So first go to the Features menu and select Extruded Cut. And Solidworks has already defaulted to the sketch that we had just created. If it didn't, we could have selected it. It's also defaulting to cutting inwards, as if we were going to cut a pocket. But we're going to reverse the direction of this cut so it cuts outwards. So we'll select the flip side to cut, and notice now we have this icon showing us that the cut is going to be extending outwards. And we're going to change the depth of that cut. Right now it's defaulted to 100 thousandths, but if you look at the drawing, the radius corner cuts are 355 thousandths deep. So we'll change this value to 0.355 thousandths and then hit enter, and it's giving us a preview of what it's going to do. And notice it's cutting downwards, and that's what we want. So we will select OK, or the green check button. And now our part has been cut. In step 5, you're going to cut the center pocket. You should be able to do this on your own now, but I'm going to show you how I would do this. There are different ways you could do this, but I'm going to start by sketching a rectangle and then filling the corners. So I'm going to switch to my sketch mode, select sketch. It's asking me which plane or face am I going to sketch on, so I'm going to select this front face, and I'm going to select my normal icon and start by creating a rectangle using the corner rectangle option, and then just sketch a rectangle here and resize it by selecting Smart Dimensions. And this width here is now 2 inches 600 thousandths. It should be 2 inches 350 thousandths. I'll change that. And I'm going to center the width now on the origin. So I'm going to select this this left sideline and the origin point. And right now it's 1 inch 275 thousandths. I'm going to make it 1/2 of 2 inches 350 thousandths to center it. So I'll enter in 2 inches 350 thousandths divided by 2, and now that should be center. Then if you look at the drawing, this top line should be 3 inches to the origin. So right now it's 2 inches 900 thousandths. Just going to change that to 3 inches. And this bottom line should be 1 inch from the origin, and it's only 444 thousandths, so I'll change that to 1 inch. Now I'll add the fillets, so I will select the fillet icon, and I will select this top line and this left line, and I'll change the fillet parameters to 500 thousandths, and select the top line again and the right line. And this time I'm going to select the green check, so because the next fillets are going to be a different size, I'm going to change the size to 1 inch, and then select the right line and the bottom line and the bottom line and the left line, and select the green check. Alright, now the sketch for my pocket is complete. So I'm going to exit sketch. Okay, now that we've created the sketch for our pocket, we're going to extrude cut it. So we'll go to Features, and we're going to select Extruded Cut, and we're being prompted to select the plane, or the second option is an existing sketch. So we'll select our sketch, and we can see that right now the default for this depth is 100 thousandths, and we're going to go ahead and change that to 500 thousandths. So we'll enter in 0.500 here, and we'll check our preview, make sure that we accept the change, and we'll go ahead and OK this. In step 6, we're going to extrude the 1 inch by 1 inch 350 thousandths boss. So to do that, we'll go to the sketch menu, and we're going to sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and bring my part up normal, and this time under rectangle we're going to create a center rectangle, and we're being asked which plane or face to create this rectangle. So we'll click the bottom of the pocket, and then we'll hover our mouse right over the point of origin, and we'll drag out a rectangle, and we'll go ahead and OK that. On the Smart Dimension, we're going to make this rectangle 1 inch wide by 350 thousandths long, and that will serve to be the center of our boss, and we're going to add the radius sides. So this time we're going to go to our arc options, and we're going to create a tangent arc. So we'll select that option, and we're going to start with the corner right up here, and we're going to just pull this arc around and then connect it to the bottom, and then we're going to create another one. We'll select this point up here at the top and pull this arc around and connect it to the bottom, and we're going to OK this. Now we no longer need these lines, these vertical lines here, so we'll just click on it and hit the delete key, click on this one, hit the delete key, and the shape for our boss is complete. Okay, now the last thing we're going to need to do to this boss is to extrude it. So we'll go to Features, Extruded Boss, and we can see that it looks right. It's being extruded upwards, and it already says 500 thousandths, so we'll accept that, and we're done. So we'll hit the green check. So in step 7, we're going to add that 3/8 diameter hole. So I'm going to use the extruded cut option to do this. So I will select it, and I'm going to select the face of that boss, and I'm going to create a circle around the origin, and then I'm going to change this value here. Now I wanted to point out that this value is a radius, and we need a 3/8 diameter hole. So we'd start by putting in, well, we could just start out by putting in 3 divided by 8, which would be 3/8, but that would be the diameter. So to get the radius, we would divide this by 2, and now we have a 3/8 diameter hole. So we'll accept this, and we're going to exit Sketch and go to Features, and in Features we're going to cut extrude, and we will take a look at an isometric view of this, and instead of having a blind hole, we're going to cut through all, and we'll accept this, and now our hole is complete. Okay, so that's the last thing we're doing in step 7. In this last step, step 8, we're going to assign material to this part so that Solidworks knows what type of material this part is made from. So to do that, we will come over and right-click Material, Edit Material, and then we'll look up that particular alloy. So under Aluminum Alloys, look for a 2024 alloy, apply this, and then we'll close this window. Okay, this concludes this tutorial on Chapter 24's student activity. If you have any questions, refer to the printed guide, or possibly your instructor can help you with that. Okay, thanks again.